So I decided to delay this an extra week because I didn't want to be the guy that did 2 book hauls within 6 days of each other. So here's another one because I bought more books, and this was here. Okay, I'm gonna explain it myself for a second here, okay? 1, I like buying books. There's not much more to it than that, but my reasoning was, yes, I had just gone to a Barnes & Noble near me and did my last book haul, linked right here, but I went back because I got my first vaccine, and there was another Barnes & Noble about 5 minutes away from it. So, I mean, it would be stupid not to get more books, right? Like that would be stupid. So I went and bought more. And then also, now that I have my new UPS box set up, I've actually had some books sent to me. So this is that book haul. Enjoy. Okay, starting off with a book that I was sent by one of my patrons. Thank you, Jane. That would be Bloody Rose, which is book 2 of the Banned saga, trilogy, saga, series, books. This is the sequel to Nicholas Eames's Kings of the Wild, which I did review on the channel, and I actually liked it quite a bit. Now, Bloody Rose, obviously, this is going to follow the female band that sort of existed from book 1, right? Am I totally making that up? That's what I think this one is. But I'm expecting sort of the same feel and vibes from the first book. Obviously, the art style of the cover remains the same. It's excellent. I mean, I love the art style. It's so cool. But Kings of the Wild was a lot of fun. It was pretty lighthearted and actually did have some pretty interesting characters for as short of a book as it was, and as sort of closed it is. It's very much just like a quest that you go on. Lots of humor involved as well as violence, and just tons and tons of references to rock of the past and just all these different bands, and sort of like this traveling group mentality. And Nicholas Eames did a very good job of sort of incorporating his love of music and 70s and 80s, you know, rock groups and just music in general, and sort of the whole setup of like a traveling band going out on tour, you know, playing shows and all this stuff. He incorporated that really well in sort of a witty way, and I'm interested to see what happens in book 2, and if it's just sort of like a standalone story, or if it includes anybody from the first book. I don't think it will. Maybe 1 or 2 of them might make a cameo, but they were pretty old in book 1. That was sort of like getting the band back together one last time. I think this is gonna, just based on the cover art, I would say it probably follows a younger cast, but I'm definitely interested to see where this goes, and I'm looking forward to book 3 as well, which I have no idea when that's happening, but probably in the near future. This next book I found at Barnes & Noble, and I honestly got it because it sounds pretty cool, but the art, the cover honestly looked beautiful to me as well. This is The Tiger's Daughter right here. I had never heard anything about this author or any of the writing, so I'm just gonna go ahead and read the back of this real quick. A poison spreads across an ancient land. The Hakaran Empire has conquered every land within their bold reach, using the combination of imperial might and sabotage to devastate and subjugate the nomadic Koran tribes. Generations later, the decaying imperial line has led to rampant corruption and ruined fields, and worst of all, the demons once kept at bay by the Hakaran Emperor have taken advantage of the crumbling protection of border walls and have begun to overrun villages and forests. But against all odds, a destined pair of warriors rise from the ashes, the last hope of a devastated people in a fractured nation. This is the story of Barsalia Shafali and O Shizuka, who are unafraid to face the demons. They will save their world and become legends, or they will die trying. Now, the only insight that I actually have to this, which, I mean, the premise just sounds really interesting on its face, but I was told by somebody on Instagram to expect that this is foremost a love story / romance in a fantasy setting. So it is epic fantasy, but it's heavy on that actual relationship between 2 main characters. So that's totally, honestly, different and possibly refreshing from what I'm used to reading. So I definitely look forward to that. It sounds pretty cool, and let's hope it's good. Next up, I have The Gutter Prayer by Gareth Hanrahan. Now, I hope I said that correctly. This, I actually had a buddy of mine, Chase, in Discord talking about this one, and he was on the hunt for it, and I actually found it as well. Sounds really, really interesting. You're following basically 3 different thieves. So I'm assuming this is going to be a three POV story. This one I don't know too much about either, but it does sound pretty interesting. And anytime that I see any sort of fantasy recommendation from somebody, or there's a book that somebody really wants, you know, they're eager to find, that definitely shoots it up my TBR list and has me interested as well. So this is book one of the Black Iron Legacy. This sounds like it might honestly get pretty dark and violent. Again, the cover art is fabulous. You have the author, Peter McLean, who does Priest of Bones, which I've heard is a pretty dark, grim series, praising it for his imagination. You've got Nicholas Eames, who I just talked about, talking about how the main city in here seethes with history, horror, and hidden secrets. So honestly, this sounds like it's going to be sort of a darker, sort of gritty fantasy, and that just sounds super cool to me. So I'm definitely looking forward to getting to this one here shortly. Next up, as I am fully on board the Joe Abercrombie train, I picked up a couple more, so I do have A Little Hatred sitting up there, and I wanted to get some of the standalones. So I went ahead and grabbed Best Served Cold, which it's only like 600 pages. Why is this book so damn thick? I guess it's just high quality paper, huh? But yeah, Best Served Cold, definitely looking forward to. The only person that I hear anything negative from is Jake Bishop, and he's probably just wrong. And then of course I grabbed The Trouble with Peace, and since I got this in hardcover, I am kicking myself for getting A Little Hatred in paperback, but maybe I'll eventually replace it. But this is obviously book 2 of the Age of Madness series right here. So I'm going to get through all of the First Law standalones and then get to the Age of Madness books. I know Wisdom of Crowds is on its way. There was a hilarious thing that happened with the cover of that book with the whole lion on the flag being like a WoW image that was reused, and they changed it. That was fun, but I'm not getting the UK editions anyway because I actually prefer the American covers for these ones. So yeah, definitely looking forward to more First Law. Abercrombie knocks it out of the park with character work. I'm interested to see the sort of overall evolution of the story and the setting. I was actually on Jimmy's channel recently, just shooting the shit for 2 hours, and we actually talked about Joe Abercrombie and the First Law, and he was talking about how well Abercrombie does sort of like evolving with time throughout his fantasy from where you are in book 1 to Age of Madness. He actually has some great insight on how well Joe Abercrombie sort of grows the story with time and the technology and things involved in the world as you go along with the story. This is a great example of how you can not necessarily do a time jump, but sort of expand technology within a fantasy universe and how characters have to deal with it as you go through time. Rather than doing like a 10 years later or 1,000 years later, something like, you know, Mistborn Era 1 to Era 2, where all of a sudden you're in this sort of industrial revolution. This really shows the growth to that point. So that's really, really cool, and I'm interested to see where the series goes. Okay, last up for the fantasy section of this book haul is actually a patron of mine and author as well, S.J. Saunders, sent me these incredible looking 5 books in his series that he wrote, which is the Future's Birth series. So, and these are totally unlike, they're slightly bigger than mass markets, and it's almost like a shiny cover. They look so much different than the other books on my shelves, which is really interesting. I like the sort of simple, nice matted artwork that's on these. So this is just super cool. Yes, he has also written the Season of Light trilogy, so you can find his details down below. I don't know what to expect much of this. He wanted to just sort of send these my way, and if I was interested, you know, to read some of them, and I'm definitely interested. I love reading books that are sent to me. I'm so appreciative that anybody wants me to read things that they write, so I'm always open to that. I have a ton of self-pub stuff that I want to get through. I'm probably going to get like one of these shelves is going to become a self-published shelf that I'm probably going to feature like right in the middle. So Wheel of Time is probably going to have to move. But just super cool of you to send me these. They're gorgeous looking. They sound pretty interesting. And yeah, I mean, it's just his website will be linked down below too. I'm definitely intrigued by these. What's good is, although it is a 5-book series, they're not 1,000 pages each. So I might actually be able to get through some of them rather quickly, and I will give these a shot for sure. So awesome. These look super cool. Thank you again. All right, so for the sci-fi section of this, I went ahead and grabbed book 2 of Alistair Reynolds' Revelation Space in this gorgeous trade paperback that they reprinted these in. Again, this is going to be a space opera heavy couple months coming up here. So I am doing the Revelation Space read along with Media Death Cult's channel. So that will be linked down below as well. I already have book 1 and book 2. So that's going to be initially up front a trilogy. There are also a ton of other novels and I believe some novellas or like prequels that are part of the series as well, but I'm at least going to try to get through the trilogy and see how I like it. I'm expecting great things. I hear nothing but great things about Alistair Reynolds, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. And that's gonna start next month. Next up, I did track down a copy of Empire of Silence by Christopher Ruocchio, the hardcover, because of course, the only thing that I ever see in stock anywhere is the mass market. And even the UK edition paperbacks and hardcovers, I can't seem to find in stock ever, but Amazon randomly a couple weeks ago had these in stock and it was like 25 bucks. So I went ahead and grabbed one of those. Really looking forward to that. I've heard absolutely nothing but praise for Christopher Ruocchio, whether it be from Mike or from Durfee, everybody, people in Discord, praise this series. Brent, Scott, you guys really hyped this up a lot, so I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a space opera heavy future for me coming up, and I cannot wait. I'm actually supposed to be buddy reading this as well, assuming the timelines and stuff work out with Leanna over at Leanna's library. That'll start in June, I believe, is what we're aiming for there. So be on the lookout for that starting in June. And of course, if I enjoy it, which I anticipate I will pick up books 2 and 3 with book 4 on the horizon. And finally, I put a poll out to my patrons to do a patron read along since we just wrapped up the first law with Last Argument of Kings. And this time around, The Expanse won the read along decision. So we are at least going to start with Leviathan Wakes. I don't know if this is going to be a full commitment to the entire series or not. What I'm going to do is, and yeah, I got the hardcovers because it was like 40 bucks for the 3 of them. So that's a great price for 3 hardcovers. So I'm actually going to give away my trade paperback cover. Wow. I'm going to give away my trade paperback edition of Leviathan Wakes because if I do continue on and buy this entire series, I'm going to get it in hardcover. I'm at least committing to the first book and see how I feel about it. If everybody in the Patreon that's reading along enjoys it and they want to continue, we can just keep rolling right on through. So if you want to join in on this Leviathan Wakes Expanse read along starting the 2nd week of May, go ahead and join the Patreon. Jump on in and join us for this. I'm really looking forward to it though. Lots of sci-fi coming up in the future, so I'm super excited about that. I hear mostly great things about this and the TV show, so if I end up really loving it, I'll probably start watching the show and incorporate some of that into the conversation as well. But definitely looking forward to some good old space operas coming up in the next couple of months. So that's going to be basically 3 of them. So I've got The Expanse, Revelation Space, and Sun Eater. So awesome. I've been wanting to get more sci-fi in, and this is a perfect way to do it. So I'm definitely looking forward to all of these books, especially some of the sci-fi stuff, because I do want to read more of it and not just be bogged down in fantasy, even though my channel does say fantasy book talk. But here we are. So that's going to wrap up the book haul for this week. I probably won't buy some books for a little bit now since I don't want to enrage my wife too much. But yeah, so that's everything that I bought recently or was sent to me. So thank you all again for sending me books. I really, really appreciate that anybody wants to send me anything. It's super cool to just have an audience and have people give me stuff that they want to see me read and talk about. So thank you all so much for that. That's going to do it though. So like and subscribe. As always, do hit up Patreon if you want to support the channel financially. And what I do here, always optional, but always appreciated. And of course, like I said previously, we're going to be doing more Patreon buddy reads. So if you want to get in on that action as well, that's available to you if you join. Definitely jump in Discord though, or leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on whatever you want to talk about, whatever books you're interested in. If you want to join in on any of these read-alongs, whether it be The Expanse or Empire of Silence, or join Moyd's Revelation Space read-along, that starts next week. So definitely jump in on that action if you want to join that conversation as well. So that's going to do it. Until next time, keep reading.